All right, we need to make more progress here because this thing needs to get out of my way. Plus it would be fun to, you know, take a lap with it and see what we got. So we're gonna try to keep plugging forward right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. 1250. It's coming along, but it's coming along slowly. And I don't know, I've made some improvements since last you saw it. Meadow greenified it a little bit whilst I had it apart. I've got the different headlights just put on there so we can see how that's supposed to be. I took everything off this side of the block and I was gonna clean that up and whatever. Took this off because we got to get that pulley changed. Now you can see how it works. Behind that bracket is the governor bolted to the back of the generator, and that's what limits us in a lot of what we can do. But for now we're going to roll with that, and we'll figure out how to make it. We'll put another thing on to make it charge later. If my other little mini alternator ever gets here from foreign lands, maybe I can make it do its thing, but I don't know. I've got this off of the other one we need to mount up here. I got that cleaned up and a gasket made, so that can happen. I was a bolt short, but I went and got one. So yeah, there's just all kinds of little things to make this go, and then we can do whatever. Another thing I want to do before we start it is I want to take this loose and I want to pour water in here until I see it overflow out of there, because then I know that my plate is working and it's letting water through to the right place. So, you know, it'll have to be this full, but if I fill it through there, through the block, and then it comes out this hole, then I know things are happening. You know, if I fill it through the radiator and it comes out that hole, I still don't know that my plate is letting water through. So, or at least that's what I've worked out in my brain. So we'll do that at some point here. I really don't know where to start. I got some fuel system stuff I want to start with so that maybe we can start putting together the back half of the dash and not have it torn apart forever and ever. But it's just a monumental task finally when you start looking at all the little things you have to do. It's hard to get going, but I think that I have everything over here that we could go ahead and put that water elbow on the pump. So we might do that real quick. You're probably going to be in the wind again, but that's just the way it is. Got a little bit too crazy with my holes there. I punched through it, but it'll work. It will work. Probably should get everything ready to go before I do that. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do with my hose situation here, but it's very obviously going to take a much bigger hose for here to here, so I might have to try to get me a bigger barb so it's not as difficult to make this jump from one to the other, because that looks kind of like it's not going to find one that will go over both of those. So I will have to investigate on that. I was going to clean up a lot more stuff here, but I don't know if I got it in me. I'm kind of over this, but we do have to get this pulley swapped. So I may wait to put any of this on yet. We'll go to the other side and do some of the stuff I know we can get done, because that's been taking a lot of time, is the customizing and making all these little pieces work. Part of the trouble is because of my brain, I guess. I mean, I'm making it more difficult than it probably has to be. But I made up this bracket, which we're gonna mount in there. It'll be right where the original would have been, sediment bowl, I mean. But then the combination of fittings I got will not work. It's very hard to find a 1/2 inch UNF banjo with the barb like this. I can order them from faraway lands, and they're super expensive. So my thinking was just make this work with what I got. And we don't even know if this is gonna work. It appears that it will. When I tightened it down and I watched it go round and round, turned it by hand, I think it will pump. So yeah, we also have to make sure that his tank that he fixed doesn't leak. So we don't know that yet. But slowly it is coming together. It's just a matter of all this little stuff. So what I got to do now is take the tank back out so I can drill the holes in this piece for the bolts to hold my bracket, and then put it all back together, and then maybe we can start in plumbing our stuff. I really think that for some of it I would rather have steel line, so it doesn't look so cobbled up with just hoses running everywhere, like a long steel line to go up to the carburetor with just 2 short ends of hose. So we will, worry about that, I guess, later, because for now we need to just plumb it up where it's going to run. I don't have enough hose clamps either, probably. Should have brought a box of small ones. But once we get the fuel tank down for keeps, we can start in with like the dash and stuff, and then that means we can start with the wiring and such and so forth. And we need to do stuff like that, because it's just something that has to be done, but it's hard to talk yourself into doing it because there's just so many little things to do. But we're gonna plug away and try to make it happen. So fuel tank delete. I made my mark, and this is eventually going to live here, but I'm going to have to drill it from here so that I don't. Oh, and that's going to be more difficult than I thought. Fantastic. I love it when things are more difficult than what I had planned. Because of the raised rib, it's not going to let me do that. I really don't want to take that back off. So we're just going to make the best of it that we can. Why do a good job when we could do a job? Consequently, I'm also very, very sick still. I don't know what's the matter, but could be the vid. I don't know. Don't know. We're gonna say yeah with that. We need to, out of practicality's sake, we need to move it in. It's about right there. Oh, that was violent. I did not like that at all. Let me do this to hold it. our goal is don't punch a hole in the valve cover, you know. We don't want to do that. Man, when that goes through, it goes through. All right. Now we will put her down for keeps. Which is working just so excellently. Gotta get my stuff ready, I guess. More better, more ready. Oh yeah, another cool fact is I didn't have enough 5/16 bolts, so they're 5/16 holes with 1/4" bolts. That's gonna just work great, isn't it? But until I can get where I need to go, this is happening. Not bad, not bad, considering everything is bent and warped and tweaked. I think that will work. We need to tighten those down. Get the air gun, blow the trash away that we just created, put the tank down, and then move along. All right, I got this mounted down. However, before we go any farther, we should probably put this back piece of sheet metal on here and make sure that everything's gonna go right with this tank, because I have no idea, you know, what's tweaked and bent. This plate looked awfully bent up to me, but I have no idea what shape it was supposed to be to begin with. It was probably supposed to have a little bit of bending in it, but I'm not sure how much and where. So yeah, I'm gonna set that on here and see if we can make all those holes line up for the wherever the bolts are. I don't even know, you know. We're gonna have to figure that out and just make the best we can. So there's two that go to that plate. Oh, okay. And then there's, it looks like one on each side here. And that's all that, oh, no, there's two on each side here. Okay. So, probably the smart thing to do, even though I just set that on there, is take it back off and run a tap through all of those holes to make sure that they're gonna go. Should have probably done that before I set that on there, but wasn't thinking. Probably the same with the two holes up there. But with the way that's designed, it pretty well tells me that this is gonna work, because I mean, as long as we can get those on each side and this is in the center of this, everything else will line up along life's way. Also, we'll have to make sure in the final rendition that we get the oil gauge line on the inside of the sheet metal and not on the outside. But I was worried about clearance, and there's going to be plenty. Ooh, I don't like that there's water there. Yeah, there's going to be plenty clearance for gauges and what have you. So that's another hurdle that I was kind of worried about, but seeing it now, we're on the right road, which is pleasant for a change. So I will can't come up with the right words. We'll take this off, and I will chase all of these holes in this piece of sheet metal, and then we should be ready to bolt this down. I know I should probably paint it, but for now I think I'm just going to bolt her down and go, and we'll worry about that later, because we got to get off all this fancy sticker nonsense. but it's very simple how it's put together, I see. So there's no, it's no big deal with that. What I do with my bottom piece, this piece here, it's gonna go down like such, bird crap and all. Yeah, so that'll work. We probably won't put that on till very last because of being able to get to my wiring and stuff. That's the next place we're going. But by doing this, I know that all this is going to work, what I had here, going on here. And that's another thing I was worried about. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get all of that in there, you know. So I'll clean those holes and we will go on our merry way trying to find hardware. The hardware selection I got with this is very limited in a little blue bucket thing. So I'll have to look and see if I even have enough to do this, because just to put this piece down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, and I don't think I had that many. So I'll probably be going to the store again and buying a whole bunch of expensive metric bolts, but that's the way she goes. All right, so here's how far we have it. This is mounted down solid. I got 2 bolts just holding this down because we'll be working in there multiple times, I'm sure. I got everything laid out kind of how it will be. However, like I said, I don't like all these hoses. It looks clumsy. But when we get proof of concept that it works, then we'll make it nicer. But it's going to fuel out of the tank into the sediment bowl. From the sediment bowl, it goes to our fuel pump. From the fuel pump, it goes up to the carburetor up top. So there's a lot going on right here. And that's what we need to probably make it a little more nicer, where it's not all like it is. What I'm saying is I can take steel line and make it, you know, a lot better. Like I can snake a steel line probably back here to do this one, and then I can make a little steel line to go from up there to down here with just rubber hoses, short ends, and that'll be better. This is supposed to get a shut off, but that hasn't come yet. So when I get that, make that work. And then once we know this works, I may go ahead and order the expensive banjo things, because it would be more handy to have these coming out sideways than what I got. But that was all I could find cheaply and able to get here quickly, so it'll do us for now. But I'd really like banjos so that I can position them wherever I want it. But I think we might be on track here. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any gasoline on hand, so I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow before we can even try and see if this is all gonna go and that his tube in the tank is good. If that tube in the tank isn't good, we got us a problem, friends, because we're not gonna be able to get us any fuel. We may have to go from his drain plug he put in and come out through this hole, which then will hit the steering, so we can't probably do that. We'll have to figure something out if that tube situation doesn't work. And if the tank leaks like a sieve, it might still have holes in it. He said it was pretty thin and he was having trouble getting things to seal up. So, well, once we get that, then our fuel system will essentially be done. We'll be left with wiring. The fan spacer, the guy called me and said it was done, and I forgot to go get it. I think I'm gonna run over there right now and go get it. Oh, friends, look at this beautiful chunk of stuff. This should work great, as long as I didn't guess too long. But you see how the fan sticks out of the shroud now? The problem was it was gonna hit that hydraulic pump belt. I've got it loose now, but you see how close? I don't know if I can get a good view of that or not. When things start flexing under speed, I could just envision that would sling into there. But this beautiful thing when this goes on there, awesome, awesome, awesome. Look at that. Perfect clearance with everything. Lightweight. I got to get longer bolts, but I think that's going to be awesome. So I was worried that maybe I went a little too long with it. It's a 2-inch spacer, but that'll put it in there. Somebody told me in that other video that, and I didn't know that there was a rule, but I figured there probably was, that it was, I can't remember now what he said, 10% of the fan's supposed to be out of the shroud for maximum cooling, something on that order. But in this application, we've got to just make do with what we can do, because we've got so much going on here that it's almost impossible to satisfy every condition. But look at that, that's going to be awesome. Takes our fan away from there, so we have more options when we get to the generator portion of this adventure, trying to figure out how to make that work. I'm thrilled. That worked awesome. He did a great job with it. Let me take it back off so you can see it and appreciate, you know. So I just went in there and I said, I want this, a 2-inch fan spacer. I took him an old water pump and I said it has to have a counter bore for that nub on the end of the water pump, and then it has to have one out here for the fan. And this is what he gave me, 3 holes. And it's gonna be awesome. I mean, I just can't get over that. Not many times do things work out exactly how I envisioned it. But I'm really quite proud of this whole project, really, so far. As long as it ends up working, I'm really thrilled that I was able to do this, because this water pump is easily available and cheap compared to the original, which is hard to find and expensive. So if that works, that's cool. I'll probably still track down the original stuff. You know, I've got 90% of it now already, but you know, then I can always put it back if I'm just absolutely have to, or if this just doesn't end up working long term. But I'll have to get me another water manifold, because this is actually, the thermostat was in the end of this and somebody sawed this off, and I didn't realize that till I got to looking at the parts book, and that's what's going on. So that's why I went with this route. Thermostat in line, bypass, which we can get us a different hose barb to mesh up to that better, and then, you know, one piece of hose loop there, I'll fix that. Everything looks like it's gonna work. Now, time will tell. It may end up being a total, it might end up being a total fail, but I don't think it will be. I think we're headed on the road to making it something that we could use every day for fun without being ridiculously expensive in parts and things. Yeah, I'm pleased so far. I think we're gonna make this go. So we will see. Time will tell. We'll probably call this video here. Not that we accomplished a whole lot, but we got progress that was really bothering me. We weren't getting anywhere, and it was just hard to get going with things. But we got this mounted down. We got our fuel system pretty well ready to go, other than some clamps, and then we'll make it better before we do the final thing. But she's coming along, and very soon we'll be able to move it out of here, because I got more stuff coming for others, and that stuff takes priority. Also, I need to clean. I've got trash everywhere. It's just gotten out of hand. I just haven't gotten time to do anything. And so yeah, I'm still trying to conquer the mowing battle after the fair. It's always a battle. So hopefully we can get that done. Hopefully this all works like we planned it. Hopefully that fuel pump will pump an appropriate amount of fuel. It will pump, but I don't know if it's going to be, if we're going to have to tweak it to get more somehow or what. But I think everything's going to work. It's just a matter of buttoning up little things, and then our big battle's going to be wiring and figuring out how to make everything go, because I don't know, looking at the way this is all laid out, I'm not sure how I'm going to get it to not send current back through there where that's going to, alternator's going to keep the tractor running. I could put a diode in, possibly, but it's going to be more difficult. Usually what I do to solve that problem is I'll put like one of the things, like the ignition, I will put to the alternator, and then the points I'll actually run off the accessory terminal, and then that way they're never touching, and when you shut the key off it should shut that totally down. But the Fiat key switch is not really made that way to my looking at the wiring diagram. It's a different animal, and so I'm going to have to figure out what I can do, short of adding another switch. That I really don't want to do that thing, but if I have to, I have to. We'll find out, you know. The only thing I got to add in here is tachometer, our light, which was really rusty, and I got to figure out if I want to pursue that or find a different one, and then a horn button. And then everything needs to be tightened down. Nothing is tightened tightly. It's all just in there loosely for mock-up purposes, to make sure that's what I really want. But anyway, we got to make sure that this will fit the back of that gauge. I'm pretty sure it will. Just got to get that kind of stuff done. So anyway, I think that we will probably, like I said, call this one here, even though I said that probably 4 times already. But what I'm saying is, tonight I think that's as far as I can go. Perhaps tomorrow I will acquire some petroleum product and we'll test and make sure that's all going to go. And we'll try and see if it will pump. Using that pump, we'll crank it over and see if it will fill everything. And then what else? We can try to fill it with water and make sure that, like I said, if I pour water in here and it finally comes out here, then I know that my plate is working correctly and it's filled everything along life's way that it's supposed to. Then it's simply a matter of doing my final finishing here. Hose, different barb probably, and then there's no reason why this shouldn't work. Then we will be on to sheet metal fitment. That'll be one of the last things. We got to figure out how to adapt to make our air cleaner fit on here. I'm probably just going to get a piece of angle iron and weld a couple bolts to it, and then drill a couple holes here and bolt it to there, and then set the air cleaner down on there. That's my thinking thus far, and then that should take care of that deal there. And then we will also have to acquire more hardware, I'm sure, because my little blue bucket here is getting pretty thin, and we still got a long ways to go as far as putting stuff together. Some of it got kind of rusty, and I don't know that it's worth saving. So, but anyway, we will sort all that out. Yeah, we got to get bolts for our water pump thing. We got to get a belt. We got to swap that pulley out, put that generator thing back on, so we got governor. But she's coming along, and that's what I like to see. Progress, friends, progress. As always, if you enjoy my videos, give them a thumbs up. Leave a comment and tell me how dumb you think I am. Or if by some slim chance you liked it, say that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.